Okay, hands up. Back across the 7th generation, I was totally an Xbox 360 guy. Coming off the PlayStation 2 and agreeing with everyone else that Sony botched the PlayStation 3's reveal and launch, I eventually only bought the system to play Uncharted and prepare for Metal Gear Solid 4. But I was firmly in the camp of Xbox being better in almost every respect. In fact, thanks to just how immaculate the first half of the 360's lifespan was, and how influential or seismic things like Xbox Live and Halo were, we tend to remember the system as the winner of that generation's console war, when looking back, it just wasn't the case. Thanks to writer James Metcalf initially putting this piece together for our website and getting me thinking, I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 things nobody admits PS3 did better than Xbox 360. Number 7, maintaining momentum once you have it. Whilst the PlayStation 3 would become far more recommendable over time, there's no denying the 360 fired out the gates in the early stages of its lifespan. The Xbox 360 had the better marketing campaign, had a year's head start, meaning developers were keener to release on the console and then port across to the PlayStation 3, and it was by far the more affordable option. Pretty much all the triumphs Sony had enjoyed with the PlayStation 2's release over the original Xbox came back full circle with PS3 versus 360. However, following the release of Halo 3 in 2007, Microsoft just seemed at best to be content with what they had, and at worst to become distracted by other things involving the console. Motion-controlled gimmicks like the Kinect were a disaster, and the decision to have Nintendo Me-like player avatars was a transparent attempt at cashing in on the popularity of the Nintendo Wii, with the decision to host streaming platforms also making it look like Microsoft were more interested in creating an entertainment hub than a games console. You need only look at everything that happened with the Xbox One to see the seeds for all those bad decisions first manifesting on 360. Exclusives became fewer and far between, and whilst I'll get to the games in a bit, Sony seized their opportunity to give us showstoppers like 2013's The Last of Us, while Xbox could only manage Gears of War Judgment in that same year. Number 6, free online multiplayer that did work. Xbox Live servers and voice chats might live on in infamy following their popularity during the 7th generation. However, there were a number of factors that meant it was Sony fans who were getting the real value during this time. Now, the PlayStation Network on PS3 was not the most refined system in the world. The loading times and its consistency in general could be infuriating, and there were a few too many hacking stories that surfaced to claim the system was a flawless success. Players at least didn't have to worry about being charged just to play, though. An Xbox Live Gold membership set fans back $60 per year during the console's lifetime, a sizable jump from the PS3 where you could play awesome multiplayer modes from Borderlands, Rainbow Six Vegas, Call of Duty, and Assassin's Creed for free. There weren't even any discounts that came with the membership for apps like Hulu or Netflix, meaning going online with an Xbox 360 often came with a hefty bill attached. Again, optics make us think that online gaming just was Xbox Live, Xbox Party Chat, and Halo, when that couldn't be further from the truth. Number 5, the sales. The general consensus of the PS3 versus Xbox 360 debate is that Microsoft had Sony beaten when it came to overall sales, and it's clear to see why. Released with effectively a year's head start, the 360 had the better publicity, momentum, marketing, better price, a solid library, and it was certainly the face of gaming for quite some time, with the impact made by Xbox Live and monumental releases like Halo 3. However, it's a testament to how much Microsoft dropped the ball and how solid Sony were in restoring the console's standing, as when all was said and done, it was the PlayStation 3 that actually had the most sales. Whilst both consoles were made to look like absolute flops in comparison to the Wii with 101.63 million units sold, the PS3 ended its lifespan with 87.4 million units shipped, whilst the 360 could only boast 84 million. Granted, that's not a huge lead, but gaming history-wise, it's time we recognize the Herculean effort that was saving the PS3 and maintaining momentum after that disastrous initial showing. Number 4, better exclusives. Okay, this is a contentious one, but at least let me lay it out. When people first think of the 7th generation of consoles, initial reaction might be to think Microsoft had things down when it came to exclusives. Media-dominating titles like Halo 3 and Gears of War were unbelievably popular going into the early 2010s, helping Xbox become the face of online multiplayer gaming during those first few years. However, outside of Halo, Forza, and Gears, there was very little competition from Microsoft when it came to the variety of quality games Sony were pumping out. God of War 3 was a brilliant hack-and-slash mythological action game. Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception superbly captured and elevated Hollywood action like nothing else. The infamous and Sly Cooper series are still fondly remembered today, and the Resistance franchise did a great job birthing a killer new IP that could showcase the console's capabilities. Demon's Souls wasn't appreciated in its time, but Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Heavy Rain, and The Last of Us all cemented the fact that overall, the PlayStation 3 has one of the best libraries in console history. Number 3, competitive pricing pricing and affordable variants. The Xbox 360 might have flown out the gates with its early launch, strong sales hype, and the popularity of Xbox Live, but it's safe to say Microsoft dropped the ball when it came to maintaining this momentum with strong follow-ups. Following the release of the original model in 2005, Microsoft released the Xbox 360S in 2010 and the Xbox 360E in 2013. Both of these models had different motherboards, came with a Kinect bundled in, and were designed to be smaller, quieter, yet more powerful than the original model. On the opposite side, Sony also released two follow-up models to the original PS3, the Slim and the Super Slim. The PlayStation 3 Slim alone sold 1 million units within 3 weeks. Classic PlayStation 2 titles were given HD remakes and trophies, and the fact the innovative Super Slim, a more powerful console, was able to be released before its Xbox alternative kept Sony ahead in the race. The Xbox 360 stole the show in the early going by virtue of being more affordable, but once Sony began to hit back with a $299 price and a continuing commitment to pump out exclusives, new features, and maintaining their gaming audience, there was no looking back. Number 2. Carving out a place on the handheld market. People refer to Sony's attempt at carving out a space on the handheld market as a joke, something that was never going to work from day one, as if people want to play console-quality games, they'll do so at home on a bigger screen, not on the go. Oh, how Sony must be kicking themselves now, as the Switch is the highest-selling console on Earth, and Valve's Steam Deck lets you play Spider-Man and Elden Ring on the toilet. The PSP and PS Vita then were far from head-turning consoles and were decimated by Nintendo's fare in terms of sales and reception, but at least Sony were trying something genuine. The forever overlooked and to this day still an awesome system, PS Vita offered remote play functionality with the PlayStation 3 via PlayStation Now, letting you amass a library of PS1, PS2, and Vita-only titles, with the occasional 7th-gen game brought across for good measure. As for the original PSP, the handheld had a number of features linked to the PS3 that players could take advantage of. It could be used as a PlayStation 3 controller, as well as use remote play to watch videos, view photos, listen to music, and even control the audio of your home entertainment system in a world very much still adjusting to smart devices. All of this was admittedly unnecessary, but Sony were making gamer and consumer-focused strides in the right direction that are worth highlighting. And number 1, the PS3 Superior CPU. All the power and no easy way to use it. The PlayStation 3 would become known as a nightmare to develop for from coders, but its raw specs are often misrepresented. Thanks to the 360 showcasing Gears of War in 2006, 1 year before the PlayStation 3 even launched, it's easy to forget that the PS3 dwarfed the 360 on paper. To get nerdy AF for a second and big ol' inhale as I get through this, the Xbox 360 came with a 3.2 GHz IBM PowerPC tri-core versus the PlayStation 3 CPU being made up of a cell broadband engine that consisted of a 3.2 GHz Power ICA 2.03 based power processing element with 7 3.2 GHz synergistic processing elements. Now, I have absolutely no idea what any of that means, but I'm reliably informed from the author who originally put this together that the PlayStation 3 only ever used 6 of those 8 co-processors, meaning a direct comparison puts the PlayStation 3 above the 360 when it comes to power. The only issue, as mentioned, was Sony taking years to use it effectively, hence something like the original 2013 Last of Us still holding up quite nicely next to its 2022 remake. And those are just 7 things nobody admits PlayStation 3 did better than Xbox 360. I know you'll have plenty to say down in the comments, so fire away. I myself had my eyes opened as I read through the original article. For now though, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Please subscribe to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast, and I'll catch you soon.